To order the City of Pflugerville Parks and Recreation Commission meeting for October 20th, 2022. Time is 7 p.m. Citizens communication. The commission welcomes comment on parks and recreation items. Public comment that is made on an item that is not on the published agenda will only be heard by the commission. No formal action, discussion, deliberation, or comment will be made. Each person providing public comment will be limited to 3 minutes and will be asked to state his or her name and address for the public record. Do we have anybody who would like to speak?
No.
Okay. We'll do approval of the minutes next. Okay. Discuss and consider action to approve the minutes from the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting on September 15th, 2022.
I'm abstaining because I wasn't in last month.
Okay.
Right?
You were here.
Oh, I was?
Yeah.
Oh, it was.
I do have a correction or a clarification for Austin. Jennifer was not here, but she had let me know ahead of time that she wanted to be on the commission. But the way that this is read, it looks like she accepted the nomination for the commission that night. And since she was not here, she could not have done that. So maybe we should word it that, she made her desires known ahead of the meeting, or, you know what I mean? Something to that effect, so that people don't go, well, Jennifer wasn't here, how did she accept the appointment?
Yeah, we can do something about, she was nominated and voted to approve if she accepted, and then she accepted after.
Yeah, just a clarification so that it makes sense if somebody were to go back and read it. That was my only correction that I had. Did anybody else have any corrections? Nope. Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
With the changes?
Yeah, with the changes.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Scott. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Shane, did we want to move to 5A or?
Yeah, I think we should probably pull up Parkland dedication if you're fine.
Okay.
I think it's a chance that our high school rep can see it as well, or Youth Advisory Commission could see it. Council could see it
Okay.
as well.
All right, we'll go to 5A then. Discuss and consider
Close your
Parkland
eyes. Close your eyes. Good stuff. on you.
dedication.
Okay.
Ooh, what was it? I missed it.
No.
I'm reading.
Bunch of nothing.
It was really good.
Dang it. He always does that to me.
You didn't already get it in an email?
Nice.
Okay, discuss and consider Parkland dedication for 17314 Weiss Lane. Shane.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Before you today, we have a Parkland dedication to consider. You will recognize, let's see if my mouse works. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. No, it's just, there we go. So there's the lake there. You can see Weiss High School, the Carmel development. This is on the Weiss family property. Y'all approved Takara at Weiss maybe 2 years ago, year and a half ago now. This is portioning off still parts of the Weiss family that they're working with development. So it's the same developers you worked for. It's the same, ultimately, land. It's not the same development, though. It's a different development altogether. 354 multifamily units. It's going to have almost 1,400 or 14,000 square feet of retail space right here along Weiss. And then almost 40,000 or 39,000 square feet of open space. You can see it in all of its glory here. To the right of the screen is Weiss Lane. You can see that folks will come in. There's a clubhouse, there's retail. Let's see, there's a clubhouse here, retail on right and left, a pool area, splash pad potentially. You have the living units in the back, some detention, some open spaces, and even a potential dog park on the back end of the property. You can see some of the conceptual designs that they're looking at as far as their inspiration for design. If you have any questions, we can go back as well. Also, the developer is here. The parkland dedication itself is 4.67 acres or a little over $200,000 of fee in lieu. Staff would recommend fee in lieu. It meets the requirements of the UDC. It has on-site amenities that you can see, and the funds could be used to improve play value across the street at the lake. The parkland development piece is $175,584. They are requesting a 25% credit towards on-site park amenities at their location. But to sweeten the pot, they are also going to project manage the improvements of the playground across the way, so staff won't have to do that. So staff is recommending a development credit of 25% for on-site amenities and the project management of over 300,000 or up to 300,000 in park system improvements, including a large playground at the lake. That's all we have. We do have the developer here, and I can go back and answer any questions that y'all might have.
How much was the original development putting in towards the playground on that side, on the lake?
The first round
Yeah.
is about 200,000. I can pull it up while y'all are still talking. I'll find out that exact number.
So the zoning to the north, then that's also going to be multifamily residential?
You're talking about
Over there, yeah, between there and the lake.
where my mouse is, or here?
Yes,
Okay, this area here, this what looks to be somewhat of an L, is Terracara at Weiss.
okay.
That was something y'all have already heard. It was a PUD. It might have been a PID too. It went to council, has been approved. Y'all heard that, I believe, in 2020, late 2020, maybe early 2021. So this development here that you see fencing up, and I think you see Casey as the developer that's coming in. We haven't seen parkland dedication on that yet. I don't know exactly what's going on over there, but I'd imagine it's multifamily retail as well.
So what is the distance between this development and the lake?
Quarter mile,
So,
because it's less than a half mile from the high school. When they do their runs, they run to this first spot. It's less than a half mile there.
okay.
So it'd be less than a half mile for sure.
So am I understanding the expectation that there's not going to be a parkland dedication here because the expectation is that they will go to the park?
It'll go to the playground
to the
that's
lake?
going across the way, yeah. So and we're not really talking about the other development other than the fact that they've given donation. They gave, right at 148,000 development, 130,000 parkland dedication, so 275, almost 300,000.
And that was also with a credit.
Mm-hmm. It had a credit as well. But that credit came because developments that are,
Because they were going to build it right away, right?
well, that, and they're up against, developments that are up against large park systems, which obviously the lake is. There is wording in there that they can ask for relief just due to how close they are to a large park amenity.
So how are the residents of this community going to get to the lake safely? Other than getting in their car and driving a half mile?
I believe ultimately, Jasper, and you can come up here, take the hot seat with me if you'd like. I believe ultimately the development is working with, the family's working with the development, developing it fully out. I believe there'd probably be connection all the way through. I don't believe this provides connection other than the sidewalk will have access.
We'd be putting a
On
sidewalk
Weiss, yeah.
along the entire frontage, and then if another property came in to the north, then that sidewalk network would be completed as well. So eventually, there would be a full sidewalk connection between the proposed development and the lake park.
But until that time, they're only gonna have a sidewalk in front of this development and they'd have to walk in the grass to get to the lake, correct? To get to any amenity.
There will be on-site amenities as well.
Yeah, so there's almost 40,000, 39,000
Yeah,
square
it
feet
just
of
says
open
amenity.
space. And then The
Let's
dog
see.
park in the back, the pool, and the splash pad are all on site.
In a playground.
Yeah. Actually, it's a pretty robust offering of amenities for that.
So I guess why didn't you choose a denser option?
Denser in
Like-
terms of
More units?
units?
I guess if you are saying that like you're close enough to the lake, then I guess why wouldn't you have more units there? And
I think we maxed it out as best we could. Yeah.
The whole function of parking lot dedication is to ensure that property doesn't offload onto our park system unfairly to those that are already using it. Or they pay for that in some way or another. We obviously would receive a benefit both from the play amenities that would be added, the potentially 270, not potentially, there's already around 275,000 that's coming to the lake or will have availability to be used at the lake, plus potentially another 350,000, 330,000 with the credit being taken away. So you're at 650,000 in opportunities for us to improve docks or build bigger amphitheaters or, work on the nature center or, expand parts of the trail system. So there's definitely some play value going on over there. And I know we have this conversation a lot, and I always tell Jasper, I tell everybody, if we ever go fee and lieu, the only way I can do it as a park and rec professional is if there's something to ensure that we're not just offloading people. And we do get that sometimes. Sometimes people give us something and there's no land whatsoever. It's literally just, I'm thinking of the one junior that they're trying to do on the other side of town where it's like, you're not providing any amenities on site. And so we believe this has a really great offering of amenities on site. We understand that Pflugerville's growing and development's gonna happen, and we think connection will ultimately happen all the way to the lake. But the development is required to do sidewalk and being near the school, the Safe Routes to Schools initiatives that the ISD does, there's always great sidewalks, walking people across the street, walking people to the school. So I think development's coming. I think connection is there. I think there's a lot of on-site amenities, and there's plenty of funding for us to really do some really great play value across the lake. Staff has no problem with the recommendation.
Is there a sidewalk on the east side by the high school?
You're talking about this side over here?
Toward the lake?
Yeah.
I'm thinking
this
about.
goes all the way this goes all the way down. The sidewalk goes all the way to that connection point. I think it dies like right here, which is weird because we have a trail right there. But actually, does it die, Junior? It goes all the way along ways.
I think it's, give me a second.
I think the trail dies before it hits the sidewalk, not the sidewalk dying before it hits the trail. I think there's a connection point that we're gonna have to do with that trail up there, but that's coming out of Carmel.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe there's sidewalk all along Weiss, if I'm honest. Yeah.
So then they would just have to play Frogger to go across the street.
Well, we wouldn't tell them to cross the street there, and I think ultimately there'll probably be a curb cut and everything. They'll probably be. I mean, with the idea that this is going to be, now this development here will ultimately be a fire station, an elementary school, a middle school, and a high school all on this square property. That's going to be that's going to be a huge build out. But I imagine there'll be some sort of curb cut and access from their location coming across with ultimately maybe 5 or 10 years from now, probably even a crosswalk of some sort and crossing.
We're seeking a median cut and a crossing there, anticipating that if some of the, businesses that take up those retail spaces might be of interest to the school kids across the street, would be coming across to,
Lunch
grab
and
lunch
everything
or
else,
ice cream or whatever. So we're just working with, Jeremy Frizzell and company, trying to get the TIA going for that.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest concern is like, I always look at it from a point too of if I were living there, what would I want? And my biggest concern is if I'm living there and I want to go down to the lake. How am I going to get there safely without getting in my car and driving the half mile, which is crazy. So, I
So,
mean, I realize it'll eventually connect,
Yeah.
but
yeah, I mean, as this family continues to sell property, you know, every development's gonna be required to finish sidewalk
Yep.
all the way across, and every development through planning and y'all is gonna be required to have connection points through. So,
right.
I do think eventually, you're right, if they build this property first, you know, there could be some area where they're walking along the road, although I think there's nothing on the west side, right, sidewalk wise, not from the Weiss family at all? Yeah.
And I noticed too that there's a 5-foot setback on the north and south, but there's a 30-foot setback on the west. Is that because the zoning on the north and the south is the same?
That's a great question, I wish I had planning here. Yeah, that would
I,
be.
I actually can't recall if it's actually zoned to agriculture. Yeah,
That whole property right now?
to the north and the south.
So why would you only have a 5-foot setback between agricultural and multifamily residential?
I'm unsure.
That's interesting.
Don't mind that.
And no potential access through the side of the property to go north to the lake. It's all just gonna be through the sidewalk that eventually gets built out. Like the north side of the property line, you don't have any plans on connecting it to a future development.
There is no future development to the north.
I
There's
mean,
only
not-
Lakeside Meadows to the west.
Yeah, not right now, but I mean, you're just gonna wall off the whole thing, essentially. Like no connectivity to other adjacent properties.
I think this connection happens to the west.
That's proposed potentially to Lakeside Meadows to the
Yeah.
west, but there are no planned connections to the north or to the south currently.
But if those sold it, there would probably be connections from that development coming in, yeah.
If it's another apartment complex, I guess I would probably
Maybe
have to
it's a
say
section
I would
point.
doubt that, but.
Well, I think they would wanna connect it, at least Lakeside Meadows, the apartment complex would. They may be connecting all on the west side of their property, depending on how platting happens.
And then the credit, you're saying is for project management of the playground that's already supposed to be built?
Yeah. The playground, that'll come in. They have the right to request the credit, you know, for on-site amenities, 25%. We're agreeing with that. They're going to go through and do their project management of the 300,000 of improvements on the lakeside as well.
And I'm guessing that'd be done regardless of whether we give the credit or not?
The playground?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it'd be done by Junior and I. And whatever vendor we choose. Yeah.
Is that worth it to you guys?
Yeah. Because you could take that part away and they would still have the opportunity to request that play credit. So, so it's, for us, it's a great value for us. Y'all know we've been pretty swamped and we are staffing up. I'm excited to show you 6 new people we've hired. That still leaves us about 10 short. So, not that maybe by the time that all this happens, we wouldn't be fully staffed anyways, but, it's great for them to have a project manager on site that's already managing a couple different play values, and the return on investment we'll potentially get on shade and other playground amenities that they're already gonna be purchasing. That's gonna extend our $300,000, our money, even more. Cause you know, we're gonna get that value at the same time, so, to us, it was a no-brainer, we were very excited about it.
All right. Any other questions from anybody? I think I've asked all of mine. All right, do we have a motion then?
I'll make a motion to approve the parkland dedication as presented.
All right, thank you, Scott. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Amy. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, do we want to go back up to 4A, Shane?
Yeah, well, we could, I mean, if we're jumping around, we could go straight to youth advisory.
Okay, that'll work. 4B?
You're done, ma'am?
Done with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so, Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, 4B, discussion regarding the new Youth Advisory Council.
Yeah, so, come on up. Tressa will take over from here.
Yeah, I'll be brief. So I'm Trista Evans, I'm the city secretary. I've seen all of you at least once in a council meeting. So the Youth Advisory Council is for high school students, typically seniors, to come join us for the course of their year, October through May. By May, we're not asking them to do a whole lot, to learn about local government. And so each month we focus on a department and its board. So this month is Parks. So Shane visited with us earlier in the month to talk about the department on a staff level. And so now Elena is here to learn about Parks from a board and commission level. As you can imagine, our high school seniors are very busy. So we are kind of rotating through whoever's available can come join us. And then later, whoever wasn't able to join us, if they have any specific questions for you guys, we'll send that out as needed. So logistically, right, we meet with them twice a month. The first meeting for them, their board, they have their own board meetings once a month. We do that all virtually, and then we bring them here for whichever board meeting we're seeing them for. They are also going to be doing a year-long project of their choice to support some community items that they may be interested in specifically. That is up to them. That hasn't been determined yet for this year. It's something that we're discussing to make sure that it is both a reasonable project for them to handle and also something that we can help support on our end. So this is Elena. She's here with us tonight. And this is really to give you guys a chance to say a little bit about the board. I know Lisa was able to talk to Elena briefly about what role as the chair and kind of what the Parks Commission does. So we're here for you.
I should note that I killed it. when I was
Absolutely.
talking.
Absolutely.
There was 2 of them, now there's 1. If you wanna judge. We
They're
lost
coming.
half the people.
We've got about 5 in total, and we're just trying to get all of our schedules aligned.
And not something really to talk about tonight, but we have talked and even made a motion that we as a board would consider potentially seeing someone from the advisory council or youth advisory council serve as our student rep. And that capacity, it could be one person that serves for a year, or it could be a couple people and one serves for a couple months and one serves for another couple months and everyone gets a chance. But the council years ago in the ordinance allowed the opportunity for a student rep to be a voting member, and so we've had trouble sourcing that at times. And so if we get some 5 or 6 folks, if any of them are interested, I'm sure this board would love to see a student member.
Yep,
Any questions for Elena?
not for me. I've already grilled her.
Or anything when you were in high school that you wish you knew about, like what a Parks Commission is.
Yeah, you're rotating off the board. You can say almost anything at this point.
Yeah, I guess I have 7 years, so I would just say I'm glad you're starting young.
Trees. Right.
What was that?
Trees.
Yes, also
trees.
trees. That's my personal goal. We got a dog park.
Yep, that's what I told her. We all have our,
I think that's
we're
what's
all
cool, yeah.
passionate about
Everyone's got a
Parks and
passion
Rec
about
in
it.
general,
Yeah.
but we all have our main focuses. We have people who love trees and tree canopies, and we have those of us who are dog park people. So, yeah.
Yeah, again, like it's awesome that you're aware enough to know that government is important and getting involved. Like I got on this because I want to make sure that like I get a say in like how the rec center is gonna be, or making sure that the trails get connected and making sure that they know that like what my friends and I are want out of the park system. So it's been good though so far.
Yeah, I agree with her. Like it's pretty cool to see like how you can get involved in the community and make like an influence in like what's going on, which is pretty awesome. So like I'm with Scott and I love trees, and so we actually are putting together like a tree planting program, which has been really awesome. So like if you have an idea, you can bring it here and it potentially can come to fruition. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and like through this, I'm on the Deutschenfest committee, and the people in that committee, like they, along with Caitlin, they put on Deutschenfest. Like they decided what vendors were coming in. They booked some of the musical acts. They booked the bounce houses, the food vendors. Like it was a collaboration, and you get real say in things when you're involved.
Yeah, I think that's probably the coolest thing. I mean, government at times will move slow, and I think people learn that more when they're serving on committees, and I think sometimes it moves slow for a reason, and you've seen places where it moves maybe too fast, and so, it's good to have a body that you report to, that you talk to, and that you get recommendations from, and that give you guidance on things, but there's no way Amy thought she'd be chairing Deutschenfest the second year into this, or Jennifer creating subcommittees or anything else, and so I think it's great to see passion projects, but there's some things that y'all weren't necessarily passionate about, but y'all stepped up and are running it, so, and Lisa's gonna get her dog park. She's not gonna leave until she does.
That's right. I'm gonna be like 105. Where's my dog park? I can't walk him anymore.
I think we're dragging Scott off the committee, but I think he got a lot of the tree initiatives he's really wanted to see happen over the last couple of years. So, I think it's cool to see citizens get involved. It's great for us to meet them. It's great for us to work for them, and see what we're going through, and they help a lot. They hear things that we don't hear. They see things we don't see, and they let us know what's going on. So we appreciate it from staff side.
All right. Do we have anything else?
No, it was just introduction.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
All right, 4A. Director's updates, including information about the project status report and upcoming special events. Shane.
Okay, yeah. So for programs we've got coming up in the next month, you can say our normal board games and Dungeons and Dragon card games. We have our Halloween 3-on-3 basketball tournament. We have an RC boat race happening at the lake, which we're pretty excited about. Cornhole doubles tournament. The seniors are going to the LBJ Presidential Library. They're going through a cybersecurity program. Junior thinks I should go through that as well. They're going to the Magnolia Market up in Waco. They have a Foodie Friday for this month. I can't remember which one it is this month. I think it's out in Austin. No, man. It's Georgetown. It's the popular place in Georgetown.
Poppy Festival.
No, it's the Monument Cafe.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's Monument Cafe.
is there, yeah.
And then our farmers market is going through the end of this month, and then we'll have some festive markets happening in November and some in December. We've got Unplug and Explore happening at Barton Hills, and our Texas Arbor Day happening. We'll be talking about it more coming up. Another thing we've got happening is the floating pumpkin patch. We've got 150 spots, 75 in each time slot, 11 a.m. and 1:30. We've got about 40 spots still available. We're doing pre-registration only. But everyone that registers gets a goodie bag, and they can paint and decorate pumpkins on site. So there's still some spots for this weekend. It's a little cold. For some reason, kids handle it better than adults do. But if you know anybody that's got some kids that are interested, please have them pre-register and come out. We have had a craft fair for I think 10 or 15 years or more. It's been at this location. It outgrew this location. We took it to Bell's when Bell's left Stonehill, and that worked. But Stonehill obviously is always turning over properties. That's never going to be an option. We went to Typhoon, Texas last year, which was great. But Typhoon is doing some renovations with their business model and trying to produce more revenue. And so they're expanding their restaurant area and kind of into their event center space. And so this craft fair is something that people have cared about for a long period of time, but we've just been chasing our growth and what it looks like, the impact. And ultimately, it's in a rough time of the year sometimes, so it's tough to predict weather, but we're excited to unveil this Main Street Market Day. So it's going to be, I want to call it the Pflugerville Flea, but no one liked that idea. But it'll be, it's the Main Street Market Days. It's going to be, it's still around the same time. It's that Saturday before the Thanksgiving break. 10 to 3, we have room for 60+ vendors, but we'll have some food vendors as well and entertainment on the stage. So we're super excited about it. It should be a new event, but we have a lot of success with downtown events, and so we really think this is great for the market.
And it's gonna be all along Main Street?
Yeah, kind of like Chili Fest was
Okay.
without the chili. Fall camp, for those kiddos that are out of school but their parents still have to work the week of Thanksgiving, 7:30, 5:30 at Windermere Clubhouse. We've got registration going all the way up until a week before. The master plan, that engagement trailer has been over 150 miles now. We have over 5,000 unique visits, which is incredible for a master plan or a city this size, to be quite honest. Future locations will be Arbor Day and the Main Street Market Day, and then we'll probably put that trailer to bed. Its life as a public engagement trailer will end pretty soon. It's got to be afloat again for our council for Festival of Light. So it's lived a good long 6 months. And we're still working on a cameo. We actually got the cameo for the Most Interesting Man, the Dos Equis guy, so we're excited about that. We've sent out surveys, or surveys are going out pretty soon, and they're targeted first, as we talked about in a previous meeting. And after we reach a threshold of 400, that survey will go out to everybody online. So surveys are going out pretty soon. We'll be waiting a couple weeks for us to get 400 results back from our targeted market areas, and then we'll release the survey to everybody. And when we do, we're going to use the cameo of the Most Interesting Man, talking about he doesn't always do surveys, but when he does, he does a master plan. So we're excited about that.
So remind me how we're targeting, or is that gonna be a mailing, a postal mailing?
Yeah, it's a mailing of making sure we've reached a very diverse audience of age, race, gender, everything that they can use through census data, those things, and sending out targeted mailers. The website side has already been created. We're just sitting on it, but they want to get that. They want to get about 375 to 400 first, because if you get it in an email or in paper, you're going to do the email version potentially, right? And so then we won't get those. We won't have our targeted number. So holding off on releasing the survey to the public until we reach our targeted 400, and then we'll release it to the public. And so we can track what we got in our targeted market through our unrepresented populations, and then we can look at everybody.
Okay.
Comings and goings, we're super excited. There are no goings this time to present, only a bunch of people coming on. So Gabby is brand new. She's our event admin. She previously worked for the city of Hutto and the Hutto Chamber of Commerce. She enjoys coaching, wrestling, which we didn't know about, so we won't mess with her, and painting in her spare time. She's been great. Her and Garrett are both event staff. They got here, was it 2 weeks or 1 week before? 1 week before Deutsche Fest.
Like 1 week.
And they hit the ground running. They were great to have. Garrett came to us from Killeen. He's a Kansas native. He enjoys traveling, playing golf, watching sports. Garrett is the event specialist. Ultimately, that position was funded by council to specifically start to do more downtown programs and events. So you're going to see Garrett working on an adult and a youth-oriented downtown program and event every month. Right now, we're starting off with like a 5K and like a Christmas type thing to work in line with Fall Fest until like a Santa type cookie or cookies with Santa or something like that in a little run. So we'll let you know more info when we have it. But ultimately, once Garrett gets situated, he's going to be running downtown programs and events, helping Caitlin with the large events, and Gabby will be adminning both of them and really helping Caitlin a lot with policies and procedures and the flow of permitting as well. Victor Alvarado used to work for the department. He worked as a high school student. He worked for us, and then he went off and joined the Marines. Spent 4 years in the Marines and has come back. He's been great so far. He's hit the ground running. Obviously knows some folks. A lot of us are new to Victor, but he's been great, and he enjoys fishing and camping. Ethan's brand new to us. Previously worked at a distribution firm. Enjoys hanging out with his family, barbecuing. They had a family business as well, so he's a real family-oriented guy. Both these guys were great. They got here a week or two before Deutsche Fest, and
you know, work some long 12-hour shifts, and I had them at night. Poor guys, they had to deal with me their first or second week, but they were great.
They're still here?
They're still here so far.
Amazing.
They don't have to report to me every day. That's benefited them. And then last are Connor and Jeremiah at the front. Those are two new front desk staff positions full-time that you see. Connor is midday. He's worked for us for 7 years as a lifeguard and a water safety instructor and even a pool manager before he came on full-time. He is the wet side of the wet-dry option that facilities oversees. So Rob, who y'all probably see a lot, oversees the dry side and the front desk staff. Connor works front desk, helps us out, but he also oversees some wet aspects from maintenance and programming and overseeing lifeguards and pool managers. He's a huge Star Wars fan, loves football, hanging out with friends, getting to know people. That's true. If you meet Connor, he's your best friend pretty quick. We did that laser tag, and he was the highlight of the day for sure. Jeremiah's new to us. He's been in the industry for 6 years, working part-time for Round Rock, so we were able to steal him. He's coming over here working full-time. He's a big sports guy, and you're going to start seeing like pickleball tournaments and basketball tournaments, things that we're hosting on site. All those are coming from Jeremiah. So he's excited to get here and start working. He'll also work shifts at the front desk itself. But we'll be doing some programming and tournaments and athletics. He's very interested in that side. And then a little fast.
It was a great event. I mean, I know what everyone's thinking here. Where was Lisa, right? Isn't that what we were all wondering?
I was looking for you all weekend.
I know, I wasn't there.
It's like, where was Waldo? Where was Lisa?
Yeah.
We were all looking. No, it was a great event, and we had a lot of fun. You know, it's a lot of work on staff, volunteers, and not just Parks and Rec staff. It takes the whole city to pull this off in a lot of ways. And we don't have all the information yet because it takes us a little bit of time to pull it. And Eventbrite has to look at anyone that doesn't claim their ticket. They have a chance for a refund. There's a couple other things that we're waiting on for numbers, but we do have some quick stats. Ticket revenue right now looks like it was an all-time high for us that we can track was $39,000 last year. We're right under 58,000 this year, so incredible numbers for us. I think it was 19 and a half that we made in revenue, more than we'd made previous year. Ticket sales are just ticket sales. That's not shirt sales. That's not the kiddos that come in as well. We had a shade under 4,000 ticket sales last year and a shade under 5,000 this year. Looking at some data that we use from Placer, which is an app that projects people that are in a park based off the number of phones that they're tracking. I know that's all scary. Don't think about that part. Looks like we have a 17% increase over last year, which was our largest year ever. So really, the weather held off. Staff did a great job. Caitlin, her team did really well. Juniors guys killed it. And, you know, to be quite honest, the citizen group, Amy and her team, you know, I thought they showed up. They were there all the time. There was 2 groups running everything this year, which was better than, we had 8 responsibilities year 1, and we made that into 2 or 4 responsibilities year 2, and you've got someone rotating off. So, you know, for example, Nick, who's been here for 2 years helping volunteers, Brandon helped with them, who was new. So when Nick leaves, there's not going to be someone that doesn't know how to do it because Brandon's got a second year. So we did that with vendors, we did that with entertainment, and that really helped as well. Rotary and other vendors had record years that we talked to. In fact, Rotary, I think they might have doubled what they have done in previous years or gotten really close to it. So that's the cool thing about this event. It's to celebrate our city's heritage, it's to celebrate our German history, it's to celebrate how culturally diverse we are now. It's a way to make sure that people come out and just enjoy community. It's also a way that Rotary, Boy Scouts, the Friends of Paws, all these nonprofit groups, this is their Black Friday. This is their day that they're able to stuff their bank accounts full so they can pour back into the community as well. So it's really great that we had success. It's really good for the community that the community can come out and have a lot of fun, and they'll still benefit from the Rotary's success. You know, there will be scholarships or programs or events that'll benefit from Rotary, from Boy Scouts, from those types of things. So staff is excited about that as well. For the fun run, I didn't put last year. So last year's stats was like 368. So we were a little under our fun run numbers from our previous year, and that could have been from us taking it from a competitive 5K. But that competitive 5K has had 15 years of growing people, and they were only at 360. Our first year of just doing a purely fun run was 322. So I believe if we lean into that and we commit to a couple more years, that we'll see higher numbers in that area. Also, and I don't put it up there, but also because we're not doing a competitive 5K, we don't have to certify it. We don't have to have chips and the timing system that we have to do. And so we'll probably make more money off having a smaller crowd than we would have last year with a larger crowd because of the costs associated with a 5K that's chip timed and certified as far as distance. So this provides us the opportunity. It wasn't a 5K. I mean, it was 2.7 or something.
Yep.
Yeah. But, you know, more so, there was obstacle courses, there were bounce houses, there were costume contests. It was just fun, right? And it looks like we made over 7 in our ticket fees for that. And that's it. That's all I got. I don't know, Amy, if you want to say anything.
No, thank y'all for coming out and working the booth. And I guess I was going to get y'all's input on anything that y'all thought could be improved on or you want to see in the future so that when we have our after action next month, I can take that to the committee.
Yeah, I got one. Get that pretzel vendor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, did they know.
Yeah.
I think we have a little time. I think it's November 16th is our wrap up, so
Yeah.
got a little time to think about it. But
Yeah, that was-
If you don't get one, I'll volunteer.
you'll do it.
Make some money.
Make some money, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very few vendors were telling us they didn't do well. So
Yeah.
with that amount of, I mean, I think our numbers will be. So we had 6,300 last year when we counted everything. I think we're already at 71. So we're already at 800 over last year's. I think we'll be.
7,100 what?
Huh?
7,100 what?
Sorry, attendance.
Okay.
People attending over the 2-day festival. I think we'll probably be in the mid sevens, maybe get close to 8,000 attendees. So, it's such a small park to have that many people roaming around in it pretty much shoulder to shoulder that, vendors, I think they all had a great, weekend. We're also able through that placer data to track, dwell times. So Friday night, it was a 5-hour event, and over 1,000 of the 2,300 people that we could track in the park, over 1,000 of them were there longer than 2 hours. So great dwell times, and I think we don't have dwell time numbers yet for Saturday, but I would expect it to be over 2 hours as well. So as a vendor, if you got a packed park and you have great dwell times, you would think that they would be very happy with the amount of foot traffic they're going to get in an area like that. So
I went with a friend, and she has a 7-year-old, and the balloon animals were a huge hit, and we had like 10 people ask us where that was. So I don't know if there's like more balloon animal
Yeah.
people. That might be a good idea for next year. So
Okay.
that's cool.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well,
No.
we appreciate the support from this board and
Yeah.
the hard work that the volunteer committee does,
Yeah.
for sure.
Maybe I should go camping more often if it
Yeah,
went so
maybe
well.
so. Every third Thursday of the month.
All right, so now we have 4C,
Yeah.
discussion regarding meeting dates and 2023 Parks and Recreation Commissioner openings.
Yeah, so we wonder, sometimes these dates hit weird, right? The third Thursday of a month, when you're near Thanksgiving and near Christmas can sometimes hit. That's not happening this year. We just want to make sure we were stating that. So November 17th is the week before the break for ISD, and December 15th is the week before the break for the ISD again for their winter break. So hopefully we have quorum. Hopefully it all works out well, but it shouldn't be a discussion that y'all have to say we got to bump this up or back. Also, I think December is tree care advisory and Scott's last time ever. So if we want to have a tree cake or something. Also, we have 3 full openings and an alternate position. Lisa's term's expiring, she can apply again. Amy's term's expiring, can apply again. Lisa Monahan is an alternate, and they have to apply every year, whether she wants to be an alternate again or she wants to run for a 3-year position. And then we have the student position that we never filled this year. So that's our 3, and as we talked about earlier, Scott's terming out. So if your name's up there and you're still interested, you will have to reapply. It's December 8th. I should have had that date.
So the December 6th will be the council meeting.
Council meeting,
when
December 6th.
appointments are made currently. That is our current schedule.
And you'll have to get the application in before then,
By
Yeah.
end of November.
December 6th. Good thing you were here, I was guessing. Any questions on that? While we literally have Trista here, we should have planned that every year. Awesome.
All right. So we will go to 5B, discuss and consider Arbor Day programming.
So Arbor Day programming is going to be, it's going to see a lot more trees planted than we've done in Arbor Days in the past. We're super excited about that. So it's a 2-pronged Arbor Day celebration for us. So the normal Arbor Day is the Friday, it's the first Friday in November every year. Nationally, it's sometime in the summer. We don't do what the nation does. We're Texas, we're different. So ours is in the fall, and it's the first Friday in November. We had done that we'd done that my first year here, and we'd done that previously. We just didn't have great turnout. So last year we moved it to Saturday at Stonehill. Had a great turnout. We're gonna repeat that. So it's the first Saturday for us. Our Arbor Day planning is the first Saturday in November. 10 to 11:30. Tree crafts are gonna be provided by our program staff. Junior's working on tree giveaways. We're gonna plant 10 trees in the park. and it'll be very similar to last year's event, which was very successful. So we're looking forward to that, and that will be the city's portion that we do every year, 10 trees. And then the initiative from this board, or this body, the Tree Care Advisory Body, was that we would plant trees on ISD property. We got 16 schools that were interested in the city limits for the most part. And each of them maxed out their request of 5 trees per school. So we have 6 or 8 that we're talking to and that we think we will have confirmed leading up to Arbor Day. I've reached out to Brandon Cardwell at the ISD, and he is going to do 811 as well. So when he approves the spots, he's going to tell us if there's utilities to avoid, which is one step test that we have to do. Brandon's on our Deutsche Fest committee, which is great for us. There's a lot of
Good communication.
overlap. It's great to have him on that as well. 3 schools out of the 16 won an on-site ceremony, and 13 of the 16 said, you know what, Junior's team is just so good at what they do. We would just prefer us show up and they're magically planted. So that's what so Junior's team will be out, and we've already spread the wealth among his staff, and they'll be augering holes and throwing trees in when we get them, when we get them approved. So we're hoping to get 6 or 8 the week of November. So leading up to our planting, you know, we're hoping to have 80 new trees I guess half of that in the system. And then, you know, our trees will go in, and then the other 6 or 8 schools will see plantings as well, as we get maps from them, as they get approved by the ISD, and as our guys can get out there. Because we'll have the park maintenance rodeo 1 week that they'll be gone for. We'll be setting up for Main Street Market and Festival of Lights. So we'll be working the other 6 or 8 or 10 or 8 requests in as we can.
So this 6 to 8 schools, this first batch, should we get in contact with them and tell them that we're planning to do it in that week?
Yeah, as soon as I hear if
Okay, so you'll
Yeah.
confirm first, and then we'll
if Brandon
contact them.
hits
Okay.
something and says, hey, 811 says, or my
Okay.
staff says you can't do it here, we have to go back to that school and say, where's a new spot? So
Okay, so we'll hold off until we hear from
there's
them.
a couple steps. If we get really lucky
Okay,
and the spots they want are diggable spots, as soon as I hear from Brandon that those spots are approved, I'll let y'all know, and y'all can start to make contact with those schools.
okay, that sounds good.
Did you hear back from Pflugerville High School?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think, were you in contact with Pflugerville, or was that Carol? We did hear back from them.
okay, good.
That's me.
Okay.
Fine.
Excellent,
I
okay.
love that face. That face was like, whoa.
Refer to the notes.
And we met, your subcommittee has met once. I don't know if you want to report on anything. I know I kind of covered some of it there, but if y'all want to talk about anything, we provide this opportunity to do that as well.
Yeah, mostly we just talked about that 13 schools want us to just plant the trees.
Yeah.
So that is awesome. And that, the 3 want to do some sort of ceremony. And then just confirming that we do need to find out the locations to get them approved by facilities. And so we're having some trouble getting some information from some of the schools about the locations, but
Thank you for not throwing me under the bus.
it's not just you. I had the same thing. I had some descriptions I gave to Shane, not the actual maps. So,
That's right.
and then we finalized the list of trees for each school. Like we gave them an option of 5 different types of trees they could choose from, and some did not get back to us, so we just chose 4 of them. So we do have the final number of what types of trees we want. So
And Fred has already sourced those 30 gallons.
30 gallons. Is
Yeah,
awesome.
we're still.
No. Yeah, we're working on sourcing them now.
Great. Yeah. So, yeah.
This says discuss and consider if you want to finalize both the city plans and y'all's plans, you can with a motion. If not, we can go with head nods and continue working on what we're doing. It's up to y'all. Okay, fair enough. We're gonna keep doing it.
All right, 5C, discuss and consider action to appoint Parks and Recreation Commissioners to the Parks Foundation Research Subcommittee.
Question: can you be on 2 subcommittees?
It's a good question.
Is this mayor and council? Well, they're on 2. Yeah.
Okay, because I know at least 2 people on the tree care subcommittee want to be on the foundation subcommittee.
I believe mayor and council are on multiple, or they're allowed to be on multiple, and since we've been using that as our
kind of our model.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything that prevents you from doing that.
Okay.
So, this is just a reminder of where we're at so far. We, from staff's perspective, are looking for a recommendation from this body that would ultimately go to council with staff support, talking about next steps on what a park foundation could look like in the future. The city would be supporting it for the first of 3 years, both with staff and budgetary impact, so it's something that everyone needs to be aware of. We'll also be leaning heavily into legal, because there's documents that we're gonna have to create for 501c3 and the other things that are involved with being a foundation. We still will, at some point, if it's created, have to decide how we're going to be as a fundraising body, if we're gonna be more corporate and look to funnel projects and land through us so we can use that to elevate us and ask for corporate donations, or if we're gonna be more retail and we're taking $5 or $10 here and we're doing galas everywhere, and everything we're doing is a fundraising effort. And really, in a lot of ways, that's gonna be dependent on how much hard work the volunteers are gonna be willing to put in. In some ways, staff obviously will be affected about that, but the volunteers, the foundation is gonna be planning the gala, it's gonna be reaching out to all the folks, it's gonna be asking for, buy a table for $6,000 or whatever, and so, it'll be up to y'all to figure out if you wanna be, more boutique or retail, or if you'd like to be more corporate in your, foundation, fundraising efforts. And then, important to know, this subcommittee, their role, is to pursue a recommendation that y'all would provide to this commission on the viability of a park foundation in Pflugerville. And if we don't get to that point a year from now, we'll need to renew it and reappoint either the same folks or potentially new folks.
Now, okay, so subcommittee, so they have to be a member of Parks and Rec.
They have to be a member of the
So Scott
commission.
won't be able, it's not something he can do.
No, we do
because-
for a month.
No, I realize, but I
Honorary.
mean, in January, you wouldn't be able
Yeah.
to stay on. Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify. Okay.
And the whole idea is for y'all to operate a little bit leaner, quicker, to not do something that requires all 7 of you to talk and interact, and that violates some sort of open records request or an open meeting act. We're nominating 2 or potentially 3 people that we would like to see do the work on this and then report back to us. So we're not all involved in that process and creating more government layers.
Okay.
I was gonna ask, when forming this foundation, would it be able to benefit any other city departments, or is it only parks?
I guess it would depend on what you put in your mission statement.
Okay, yeah, cause I also.
There is
Okay.
obviously a Friends of library, there's a
Okay.
Friends of Paws. We don't really see any benefit from those. Those are hyper-focused on those initiatives, right? Making sure that books aren't being banned or stay in circulation, and then that animals aren't euthanized or whatever those missions are, right? So,
Okay.
we sometimes work with them or we interact with them. One of them was at Deutschenfest or whatever, Friends of Paws, for example. But for the most part, it's almost, unless your mission statement states, it's almost 100% focused on fundraising for Parks and Recreation.
Okay.
And then y'all would still be the advisory board that does recommendations for Parks and Recreation.
Okay.
And this is the only slide I have, so.
So, let's see.
And if you don't,
So are we looking to appoint specific commissioners
Yep.
tonight?
Y'all brought the opportunity to create them last time, so you have the right to appoint them this time.
My only concern is there are several people who aren't here tonight. I personally would prefer to table this until we have, which might affect you, but
Yeah.
I'll be here next time.
yeah, okay. That's my biggest concern, because I don't want people to miss out on an opportunity because they weren't able to come tonight.
The chair of the body can just table it without going to a vote. You can also just talk amongst yourselves and decide not to take action on it, and it can come up on the next one as
Okay.
well. So,
I know one of the people not here wants to be on the subcommittee. I was gonna nominate her or whatever, but I'm fine with tabling it as well, I think.
Okay.
either
Yeah, I
way.
was
Yeah.
gonna
Any
say,
concerns?
let's table it so
Okay.
that we have everyone, or, yeah, so that people who wanna be nominated are here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any
Good deal.
concerns, Scott?
Does it delay anything for you guys?
No, it's a big enough elephant that we
It's
can
gonna be
start
there.
chewing a month later.
Okay, then I'd like to table it until next meeting and bring it up in next meeting, and hopefully we'll have everyone here, or at least have the opportunity to make sure we've reached out to
That they're
everyone.
aware that if
That
they're not
they're
here this
aware,
time,
yes.
we
Yeah.
kinda delayed for you. Yep,
Yeah,
okay.
all right, item 5D, discuss and consider action to place items on the future Parks and Recreation Commission meeting agendas. Does
Okay,
anybody have any items
so remember,
to
we're
add?
just talking about what we'll place next time, not
Yep.
discussing it this time, yep. Obviously, this tabled one will carry over.
Mhm.
We had no motion earlier, which was fine, cause we'll continue to do what we're doing, and we'll continue to work with your subcommittee on the other one, so there's nothing that carries over, so it'd just be something new, other than the table, yeah.
Could we possibly revisit the Bee City possibility, becoming a Bee City? Is
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just, I'm still very interested in that.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
Yeah.
What specifically do we want them to present?
I mean, I know, so we had the presentation about the various steps, so, I mean, I think it would be cool if we could start getting that started. So I know one of the biggest things, a requirement is reducing like the amount of pesticides, so maybe just knowing about the pesticide use and how practical that is in our city. I know you were saying at one point that this is something that could take several years to get done, so,
Yeah,
maybe looking at first steps of maybe working towards that.
just an update on our plan to take next steps.
Yeah,
Yep, that'd be good.
yeah, that would be awesome.
Anybody else? Any other agenda items?
That's all I can think of.
Wow, gonna be quiet?
Be careful, be an hour, we're gonna get out.
All right. Well, then we'll go to item 6, adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I will motion to adjourn.
All right, thank you, Amy. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Jennifer, thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. It is 8:04.